Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, December 20th, Monday, December 21st for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm so glad you guys could join us this evening. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and it's so good to see you here tonight. I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend before your Christmas. I hope you're prepared. I'm partially prepared, but I still got a lot to do. If you're listening right now, you're probably listening on Spreaker.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and just recently we got picked up by KPNL, which is a paranormal radio network, and so we're simulcast on there. You can find them at kpnl-db.com. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Mr. Jason Hollywood Fife as well as Mr. Craig Hoffner. Jason Hollywood Fife is the co-founder of Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives and has been an empath as long as he can remember. He has seen and heard spirits all of his life. Jason has been with Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives since it was founded in 2007 with his best friend and co-founder, Craig Hoffner. They have been on a lot of residential cases together over the years. They have taken a break the past couple of years, and now they are back and ready to go. They are based in Knoxville, Tennessee, and cover a fairly big area including Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and parts of West Virginia. No case for these guys is too big or small, and they do not charge for their services. They are open to all cases and will jump in and help out wherever and whenever needed. Welcome, guys, and thanks so much for coming in and hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So, is there an echo in here?
Oh.
So unfortunately, these guys can only stay for the first hour, but we got some stuff planned for the last two. Unfortunately, but thankfully, Jason got called in to work tomorrow, so kind of put a damper on our pre-Christmas party.
I know. I was ready to, and then I got the news. I was like, because I'm not a morning person, really. So I'm not used to getting up till like 12 or 1 in the afternoon. And then working at night, so it's really weird. But I guess being in the paranormal, you kind of like everybody I know they're night people. So I think Craig is like the only person I know actually that is like a morning person. Like I mean, it's like he can. It kills me because he's like 6:30, 7 o'clock. He's up, he's going, and I'm going. I just went to bed like 2 hours ago, but he's already starting his day, and I'm like, I got him in there 5 hours.
Well, all those years in the Navy, party until 4 o'clock in the morning, getting up and going to work at 4:30.
And that's true, yeah.
Kind of get used to getting up early in the morning.
So you guys just got to go, and I'm very jealous because I've been fiending to go out and do some paranormal investigating, but you guys got to go and do an investigation last night?
Yeah, Jason did. I'm still kind of late up. I can't get out and do it yet.
Yeah, I think this is probably, since 2007, probably one of the toughest investigations I've ever been on, because it's me and Craig, we've always been together, and it was like going into this, and it was, I don't know, it was weird. I mean, it was very, very, I caught myself a lot last night, like stopping and looking, because I mean, we've done every investigation together, we've been everywhere, done everything, and it was, I don't even really know how to explain it. I didn't have my security there when, we were going through and doing the walkthrough and stuff, and it was weird. you know. And I hope this is the last time, because it was like we're doing some stuff and we're setting stuff up, and it's like I paused, and a lot of people, I guess, maybe don't understand that in the paranormal, because a lot of teams and stuff haven't been together as long as we have, and that was the biggest thing, because I kept telling them, I'm like, it sucks because Craig's not here. I know he's got to take care of himself, get himself healthy, and we got some stuff planned for 2021, and like some big stuff, and it was like it was just weird. That's the only way I can describe it, because we were sitting there and we were getting ready to start, and we were doing introductions, and I froze, and I'm going, okay, I introduced myself, but I kind of look over, and it was like he wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, okay, and I was like, my name is Jason Fife, and I'm with Lost Soul. Because I'm used to looking at him, and he's like, he's upbeat, he's got that, and I'm like, yeah, because we I get emotional. I'm sorry. We feed off each other, and that's the biggest part of like what we do. When we go out on investigations, it can be just me and him, or it can be me and him and 30 or 40 people, at an investigation. And if you're looking, it's like it's always that team. It's always that constant. If you see him, you see me. If you see me, you see him. And I think that was the hardest part. And if anybody has, been on a team or done anything for as long as we have, they get it. They understand. And that last night was insane. But when it was all said and done, it was, I was still, like sad at the same time, because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that still kind of bothered me. And I don't know. I'll never be able to explain it, probably.
Yeah, it kind of puts a glitch in your matrix or a hitch in your giddy up. Like, you're used to having him, like you said, you guys feed off of each other, and you have a certain routine that you get down after doing this for a while. And without him there, it just, like you said, you had to stop and pause and kind of rethink how you're doing things, because Craig wasn't there. But fortunately, he is still here and on this earth, and the accident wasn't worse than it actually was. Because then we'd be really sad.
Yeah. I would have a lot to say about that one.
We'd be getting some weird EVPs right now.
Yeah. Well, me and Jake have been together for 13 years. We've been doing this together, and it really sucked last night. I'm just sitting at home going, God, I wish I was doing something instead of sitting here watching TV, and I was just bored. I went to bed early because I just couldn't. It's like I should be down there in Georgia with Jason, but unfortunately, hopefully next month I'll start. Everything will be a lot better. My bones will start healing a lot better, and February I can start hitting the floor and getting back in shape and getting out of the house and doing stuff again. I've been in the house for 3 weeks now, not doing anything. It sucks ass, let me tell you. I'd rather be in the hospital. I know I couldn't go anywhere from there. Here, I just look at the car outside going, oh, shit, it's out there. I'm here. I can't go anywhere. Oh, well.
So you actually went down to Georgia to investigate? Where did you go?
We went to the Wright Hotel. It's in Chatsworth, Georgia. Craig and I have been there twice, and this makes the third time. It was really weird this time because Coach Craig wasn't there, and I had reached out to some people, and I've known these people for I know at least a couple of years, paranormal chat, stuff like that, Facebook and stuff, and it just so happened everything lined up to where we could meet. And it just so happened that and I was telling each one of them, and they probably thought I was crazy, but I'm like, if me and Craig are out and we're doing something, this is out of the 8 people that was there, and we had a couple that were like novice, had never been into investigation before, but out of the 8 people that were there, that's our team. If we had to hand pick people, to go out to investigate, and they're going, no, 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 okay, whatever. So we get there, and it was like, I know you. You're on such and such. You're on this paranormal page. You're on this or whatever. And of course, Kaden and Alyssa were there. So
Awesome.
with Southern Ascension. So I actually got to meet them, and that was insane because I've talked to them for 2 years, I guess, and we never met till last night, and that was kind of crazy because when they came in, the energy in that place ramped up, and it was insane. And then we had Richard Ruin was there, and he goes he goes to a lot of the investigations there, and it was, I'm trying to think. Let's see. Allie Lemieux was there. She's traveled all over the United States investigating haunted locations, but she's never been to the Chatsworth Hotel, or the Chatsworth Depot is what it used to be called, but the Wright Hotel. And same thing with Caden and Alyssa; they've never been there, and they've been to a lot of different places. And then there was one of the guys I worked with. He met us down there, and he went to Brushy a couple of times, but he had never been on an actual paranormal investigation. And last night it was crazy because everybody talks about the paranormal and TV. They always talk about if I get the opportunity to go do this, that's just like what it's going to be. Well, last night it kind of flipped the script because at the Wright Hotel, there's nothing malevolent there. There's nothing mean there. There's nothing that will harm you. But you get Class A EVP after EVP.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can you tell us your name? Boom, you get an answer. Can you tell us what year you were here? Boom, you get an answer. Back to back to back. And the thing that got me was there were three people there that had never been on investigation before, and didn't have any gifts, they said, or anything like that. And we split up, and they went to the depot first. And the depot is good. It's a great place to set up and a great place to investigate. And they came back up, and we kind of met up, and then we switched because our group had the house first. And they come up, and they had this look on their face, and it was just like, and I heard one of them say, "This is not like it is on like Ghost Adventures, or it's not like it's on Ghost Hunters." And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And we're all talking, and it's loud, and everybody's talking to everybody, and they're just like, we didn't really have anything happen. We debunked a lot of stuff. And of course, when the lady said that, I thought of Craig. Craig debunks everything. And and I start laughing, and they're like, why is this crazy guy laughing for? I'm sorry. I said, it's just, and I explained to him, and they switched. Well, Caden and Alyssa's group, we had the second floor of the Wright Hotel. And I could just tell, the energy was insane because we had just left from there. And they were kind of like, okay, we got a couple hours of this, and then we're going to switch again and, do different floors and stuff. And after that break, after they did that, everything changed. They captured EVPs. A couple of them that were super skeptic actually got touched. Had their hair touched, their shirt, and it was, and I was like, so is it still like it is on TV? And they just looked at me and they were in shock because they didn't know what to say, and they're really good people, but they'd never been to a main paranormal hotspot. And it was like from skeptic to we'll be back because, this is nothing like it is on TV. You guys do this stuff for real. And, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
So when they're talking about what it's like on TV, are they referring to like the jump scares and how people overreact and how it's just constantly active, or what were their thoughts on the difference between what you guys were doing and what they expected it to be from watching TV?
It was kind of the, because most of the TV shows are an hour long or like 30 minutes long with commercial breaks. And, they had several people that were there had, a bunch of equipment and stuff like that, set up. And I got tickled because we were getting ready to split up the first time. And Richard hollered at me. He was like, well, where's your equipment? And I just held my arms out and I'm like, you're looking at it, And he started laughing, but everybody else just kind of was standing there looking at me like, what do you mean it doesn't even have a digital recorder? And Richard's, we just go back and forth for a few minutes and then we break up. But that was, and they asked the questions, okay, do we need a digital recorder? Do we need this? Do we need, cameras and all this other stuff? And all the equipment was available to them and for them to use. But I think the mindset going in was very, okay, we're going to have 6 or 7 hours, on investigation. TV shows are an hour, 45 minutes. And they're thinking it's going to be constant boom, 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 boom. Stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to happen here. I'm going to walk in this room and I'm going to automatically get cold, or I'm going to automatically, and I'm kind of glad, I should say, that it sort of started out kind of rough for them, honestly, because as paranormal investigators, you don't always get the evidence in the first couple of hours. And you may not get evidence at all when you go. I mean, you may spend 10 hours in a spot and not get a single EVP. You may not get touched. You may not get a single photo. And I think that was the thing last night. They had it in their mind. It was, you got 3 or 4 people, you got cameras, everybody's wearing black, and the credits are rolling, and you're going out there and all that stuff, and doing this as long as me and Craig have been doing it, and you yourself too, you know that, man, it's not like that. There's a lot behind the scenes. There's a lot of effort and work that goes into it. Days and days of video footage, audio footage, picture footage, and I believe, because that was, Caden was setting up the camera and the tripod and stuff, and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm setting this up. And I'm like, cool. And I walked by because I knew exactly what he was doing, but the people that were there that had never been on that before, I was like, hey, ask him questions, ask him why he's putting it here. Ask him, I said, because there's a reason why we do what we do, because on TV, it's so cut that, it's like 5 minutes, nothing. You hear a noise. The next 5 minutes, you've got 6 EVPs. The next 5 minutes, 3 people's been touched. And that was going on a haunt or an investigation at a haunted location. There's nothing like that.
That's a lot of boring and downtime mostly.
Yep.
Gotta have some good conversation or be able to sit and listen for a while.
Well, that's why he don't miss me, because I keep him laughing and entertained all night.
Yep.
Do you find when you guys are sitting around and talking and laughing, do you feel like that ever boosts activity? The positive energy being sent out?
Yeah, sometimes. It just depends on what we're talking about. We try to be level-headed and keep things PG, no rated R stuff. We have a good time and sometimes you might get somebody just who has a sense of humor and needs a good laugh. And you might pick up that laughter on the EVP. Or it's all good though. We enjoy doing it. And I mean, if you can't have fun while you're out there, you're gonna bore yourself to death, and you're gonna run out of that investigation mode really quickly because it can be monotonous. And plus, like Jason said, you spend hours reviewing tapes and videos and looking through hundreds of, not 1,000 pictures, looking for that one little orb or something just not in the right place or something that got moved. And my dog is sleeping.
Oh, poor fella. Have you guys ever, when you are joking around, picked up an EVP of another laugh there that isn't you guys?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I may have to mute my phone. My dog's over having a sneezing attack.
I wonder what he got into.
I did. I really don't even see him. My wheelchair's blocking him. He's on the love seat on the other side of the room. He's been a good buddy. Lays up here on the couch with me.
Aww.
Occupied in laughter.
If you go out in your wheelchair, you could use him as like your horse or reindeer. Mush.
Yeah. I have a half boxer and German Shepherd mix, and I have put him out in the past when he was a lot younger on a 200-pound steel braided cable, and he has snapped that cable. So he's very strong, and he's starting to get annoying. But yeah, he if I let him do that, I'd probably flip the wheelchair, get run over by a car. Because he takes off, he's gone. I got to fence the backyard to keep him pinned up.
Got to get that rain in.
That is good. I mean, talking about animals and stuff, and actually on investigations, we have got animals, spirit animals. We've heard meows. There's no cats in the house. There's no cats outside. We've heard dogs barking. No dogs inside, no dogs outside. And last night was, I'll give a quick backstory. 6 years ago, Richard was doing a show for TV, and they were at the Wright Hotel. And one of his producer had sent the cameraman up to the third floor. Well, he was up there and he was just filming, and we had the night vision and just checking each room out and stuff. Well, when they went back down and played it, they actually caught a chicken on the audio of the camera. There's no animals there in the building or outside. And Richard, that's kind of a thing. Richard's going to kill me if he's listening to this. Mm-hmm. He has a podcast that comes on 8 to 9, so he may be listening, he may not. But we're sitting there last night on the second floor, and we're sitting there and we're just asking questions and stuff. And the second floor was very active last night. There was so much energy from the investigators there that it wasn't crazy, but it was intensely insane. And it was like you were sitting there and there was a couple of hotspot chairs where you were getting stuff from the left and the right and behind you, constant. And we were doing 5-minute EVP blast, and we're sitting there, and we're going back, and Allie's sitting over there, and she's been doing this a long time, And Richard, we start the 5-minute EVP blast. We're asking questions. 15, 30 seconds between them, and it goes back. And he was like, "Okay, stop." And after about 6 minutes, and he goes back. And we're listening to it, and we heard something. And we're like, "What is that?" But you hear voices constantly on this recorder. You can't. It's like they're whispering or undertone. So we're going back, and in the same one, we heard a chicken twice, clear as day on the same recorder. Richard's sitting there, and he stops, and he was going, "It was 6 years ago," and he goes in like the story mode. He was like, "It was 6 years ago at this very same place," and he goes in his little spiel. But it was insane because if I can get the EVP, I'm gonna send it to you. As if Richard will send it to me, because I want you to hear it just for clarification and see what you think, because and it was like everybody stopped, and you're talking about laughing earlier. He tells this story and we all die laughing. Because it's the funniest thing we've ever heard, and then all of a sudden, on the next EVP, we're still laughing because he went ahead and started it. There's laughing that's not our laughing on there. It's the spirits, and they're laughing right along with us because they're like, we got one on you, like the practical joke.
Yeah, I think I heard him talking about that on one of his shows, and he said he got the chicken EVP, and then he heard like a hillbilly or southern sort of fella say, "I like chickens."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's crazy though, and that I think that's a lot of what we do, because honestly, you never know what you're going to pick up on your recorder when you're out doing this for hours at a time, 5, 6 hours. You never know what's going to come across, what's going to happen. And if you have the patience and you're a paranormal investigator to do it, it's rewarding when you capture those.
Makes you wonder if some fella that used to live in that area or whatever used to have a bunch of chickens, and perhaps they just moved into the hotel next door or whatnot.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah, all us talking about chicken, everybody's getting hungry in the chat room.
KFC.
Chicken fried.
So many good ways to have it.
It is.
But as far as like hauntings and stuff, and like you said, going on paranormal investigations where it's generally active and you get there and it's quiet, could be because it's a dark entity that doesn't want to be known, or they're people, take some time to warm up to you, to know if they can trust you or whatnot. So I think when you do spend several days there, you're more likely to catch more activity. You get those few and far between where you get a lot, from the get-go. But for the most part, it is like that. You have to come back a few times.
Yeah. And I think that's, I keep going back, to the Rod Hotel, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. And for me, personally, going to that place, like I said, that's only the third time of me being there, but it's so inviting when you walk in, and it's almost like you're welcomed, and going to haunted locations, a lot of times we don't feel that, because if it's a spirit or a malevolent energy or anything like that, when you walk in, they already know you're coming. Excuse me. They already know that, when you get there, so they try to manipulate and do all kinds of stuff to not be seen, not be heard, and stuff like that. But yeah, capturing stuff like that is, it's insane.
So is there a backstory as far as ghosts that do inhabit the Wright Hotel? Any lore or anything going on?
There, it was built in it's basically for this place. It's 3 different locations on one piece of property. You have the train depot, you have the train car, and then you also have the 3-story hotel. It was built in 1909. So I want to say it's Southern Rail Line, I believe. Actually, I mean, there was, thousands of people that stopped at town, passed through, stayed at the hotel. The hotel, after it was built, was used as a spa. It was built in 1909, so like 1920, that was the big thing across America. The rich at that time went and stayed at these hotels or health springs, to get healthy if they were sick or whatever. And they have logs there of people dating back. I looked at a couple of them last night, and I think it was like 1910, 1911 was the oldest one I saw. And, of course, you can't read a lot of the handwriting and stuff. But, with the tickets being sold and, the people passing through constantly from everywhere, all walks of life, constant. And then you had the depot, but then you also had the hotel, the people that stayed there, plus the family. So there was a lot of energy from 1909 to now that has passed through those 3 buildings.
It is interesting how, like you said, people going through and traveling and perhaps changing their life, going to these different places on this railway, how much different energy can be there. The train depot here in Durango is one of my favorite places to go to investigate. And that's where I had to go early in the morning, which I hate doing. But we did because it was a preliminary investigation, and they were calling this particular ghost Emmy, which there is an Emmy there that's a little girl, but this was an older ghost, and right away she told her first and last name and then basically names of the other people and what exactly happened. Not only is she and Emmy there, there's the brakeman that is there, and we have pictures of him. Then there's a couple that sits in the chairs waiting for the train to come in. I guess somebody sat in one of the chairs once and they heard a voice say, "Excuse me, that's my chair," and turned around and nobody was there. So they decided to move over. And then a guy that got run over that had worked on the train, he fell off one of the cars and got his legs amputated, tried to crawl his way back to the depot and didn't make it. So you'll see his upper body walking around, and at another point you'll see his legs walking around. So they gave him the nickname of Legs, which is kind of demented. But I'd like to know what his real name is. But it's so active all the time. It's amazing.
That is crazy, because I know last night, and I've never had this happen before, on an investigation, as long as I can remember. But we were in the depot, and for the last time me and Craig were there, it was weird because I kept getting this crazy feeling, this weird, I was seeing stuff and I couldn't pinpoint it, couldn't figure out what it was and stuff, Well, last night we're sitting in there and I'm just like, okay, and and I keep hearing, we're doing the EVP sessions and and the pictures and stuff, and we're sitting there and I'm trying to think how they had the set up in a row. So we're going through there, and I'm asking questions, and I'm not really getting a response. I'm not getting anything. And the couple times I asked, it was like, no, I don't want to talk to you. And we're like, oh, okay, maybe okay. And one of the ladies that was Allie was actually sitting there, and she was like, well, let me try something real quick. She goes, I'm getting this really weird feeling. And, like, okay. And she was like, well, I need to ask you something. She goes, what's your name? And, and we do the 5-minute thing, and it comes back, and it's like, James. We're like, okay. So we're sitting there, and Allie was on track with this. I mean, it was like she knew. So when we do the next session, she's sitting there and she's like, okay, James, well, you're here. She was what, because what she was picking up and what she was feeling, it was on point. So she just starts asking these questions. She's like, well, James, what are you doing here? Or do you live in the town, or were you passing through or whatever? And of course it came back passing through. And it was like, well, why are you here? Are you here to party? Are you here to visit family? Are you here to, and she's asking questions and stuff. And it says, no, I'm here for what was like it was companionship or whatever, And when you start getting stuff like that, it's like it's really up to the investigator, to keep asking the questions, because sometimes it can be really weird, especially for like a female investigator, And we're sitting there, and she was like, okay, and she was like, well, what are you looking for tonight? Clear as day, EVP, it says a good time. Like, plain as day. And we did the station. She kind of started laughing, and about that time she was like, I think he's touching my hand. And her hand was like they have these pews, like church pews, and her arm was kind of on it, long ways. And she was like, my hand is freezing right now. It was insanely cold. And, and she was like, this is kind of weird, And then we got done and stuff. And I got tickled because we had finished up and we moved to one of the other rooms in the depot. She was, laughing, because we're all the time laughing in investigations, cracking jokes, having fun, stuff. And she's like, great. And she's like, well, I guess I got a boyfriend now, James, my ghost boyfriend, And so we're talking and going back, and we're doing some EVPs, and we head back to the main house. And sure enough, we go up to the third floor in the house, and we're like, okay, if anyone's here and you want to speak, we have this equipment set up, da-da-da. And we get this voice go, hey, it's James. Out of nowhere. And she starts dying laughing, and she's like, well, she goes, I guess my boyfriend followed me from the train depot up to the house, and we're all sitting there laughing and stuff. But when you get that, because that's kind of on a personal level for investigator, you get that clarification, you get that, hey, they're intelligent, get these intelligent Class A EVPs, and, it's crazy. It's crazy how that works, but, it's the spirit world.
Mm-hmm. Sound like she's going to have a little extra baggage going home with her.
Yeah, that's what we were telling her, joking and going, and we were getting ready to leave, and somebody was like, hey, is your boyfriend going with you, or is he staying here, your ghost boyfriend or whatever, we're laughing and stuff, and she's like, nope, I took care of it, I'm good, I cleansed myself, I'm, going home, going home single. And it was just so funny how that is, because a lot of people, they don't take in consideration of that, taking stuff home or attachments, and stuff like that. But that was just one of the moments last night that was credible evidence of Class A EVPs of she was asking a question and it was an intelligent answer every time.
That sounds good. Anybody else get this song pop in their head by the Black Eyed Peas? It's gonna be
Which?
I can't remember the name. Just dying laughing. It's like, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Right?
And I actually, this was the first time I've ever been called out on an investigation by a spirit. And we actually, of course, we got all this on the EVPs, but we're in the train depot, and it was cold, but we had all sat down and stuff, and my throat started getting scratchy, and I started coughing. And Richard, we were during the EVP session. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to get some water. So I walked up the steps, got a bottle of water, came back down, sat down. Well, we go back and listen to EVP, and I'm over there, and I'm like, and I start coughing because I can't clear my throat. And the spirit that was there out of nowhere said, "Smoker."
What?
Called me out, like red-handed, and I was like, "Oh shit, yep." He called it right. Like out of nowhere, but that was cool validation for me that hey, they can see us and they can hear us just like we can see and hear them.
Dennis in the chat room says he has one friend who is investigating ghost sex, and that reminded me of something you had said before, but also what you're telling me about this friend of yours, female, that had this ghost kind of coming on to her and touching her hand and
Yep.
probably wanting to leave with her. Luckily, she did her thing, and he didn't, because could you imagine? I read an article about this woman saying she was dating a ghost for a while, and then they got married. And then recently I saw another one on her saying they got divorced because he was always out at the bar or, never came home. And I'm just like, wow.
That's pretty funny.
That's a lot for me to digest.
Yeah, some people are really weird.
I thought I was weird, and then I read this.
I don't think I could ever see myself in any extra abnormal relationships like that. I mean, what is it in there? There's nothing there. I mean, you're like,
yep.
Here, let's get the air.
Yeah.
Oh, let me grab your boobies. Oh, can't find them. Where they at?
Yeah, it's like, yeah. And that was the thing, it was last night. It was comical in a way from a paranormal investigator standpoint, because the way she handled it and her professionalism, doing this, because she'd been on a lot of investigations before, and it was just like, she asked the questions, she got the answers, and then it was like, that's crazy though, that the spirit was actually, told us the name and then came back and was like, he was looking for a good time just for tonight. It wasn't, he was in town for a week, he wasn't, just passing through tonight. It was like tonight, and we were all talking, trying to figure out, okay, is this, then it went into the deep detail. Is it a residual? Is it somebody that is a spirit that's always there? Is it, and all that? But we were rolling, and because that was, and she brought up a good point, and she was like, all the spirits that we contact and we talk to and stuff, they were people before. So whatever they had going in their day-to-day lives, whatever routines or whatever they were doing, if he passed through, say, I don't know what year, we'll say in the 20s, if he was staying overnight or just passing through, he might have been looking for a good time, and when he passed away, he came back to that place or whatever, or passed through or just stopped in, as a spirit, still looking for the same thing,
Well, in a lot of hotels, go ahead.
I said he must have been a sailor.
Right? Stropey-legged scallywag.
Yeah.
But a lot of hotels, back in the day when it was okay to have brothels, would end up doing that because they wouldn't get enough business as a hotel, and they ended up picking up more money that way. Did they ever have a brothel or, girls for entertainment that would hang out in the bar downstairs or anything like that? That would make sense that he was there looking for a good time?
That was, I don't go ahead, Greg.
I don't remember them telling us anything like that in the history, but wouldn't be past there being something like that there anyway, because the Chatsworth is in that is just south of or southeast of Chattanooga. Of course, that's the way Sherman came down through Tennessee and then into Georgia on his way to Atlanta. So brothels were probably set up around that area back in the old days. But You're not talking the same time period though as that hotel in there, but
Yeah.
won't put it past chickens being there because it's pretty much probably all farmland to begin with.
All kinds of weird stuff going on there.
Gotta have them chickens.
Lynn was saying in the chat that he actually had ghost sex with one spirit. He said several different times. She was a prostitute, let me see, from the 1920s, and he said that it actually took a while to get rid of her. He also says that he picked her up in a pub that was an old speakeasy and brothel under Al Capone's brother just south of Chicago.
That's crazy. He busted Doc. Yeah. He had to knock the cobwebs off that, I guess.
And that is crazy though, but it doesn't. It kind of doesn't surprise me in a way, because being Chicago, being the 20s, that was like that back then. It was speakeasies, and you couldn't get alcohol, and a lot of women, were in that profession back then. Because it was soon, what was it? Started of the big boom, and so that was, a lot of money was going around. So the guys then, the mobsters and the regular people and stuff had to have money to spend. They had to have something to do. Because you couldn't buy alcohol. So, that kind of went hand in hand.
I'm waiting for Craig if he has anything to add.
No, I'm good.
Well, here in Durango, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and during Prohibition and such, on the right side of the road, all, good running businesses. On the left side, they had, brothels and places where they'd sneak alcohol to people out the back window and such. So if you were on the left side of the road, you were up to no good, they said. If you were on the right side of the road, you were taking care of business. But it's amazing what does stay behind from those different activities or different things going on. We have a team member on our team, and it seems like every time we go to certain places like that, she'll get goosed, or somebody will slap her butt, or pinched or whatnot. She seems to be the one that they like to pick on. But yeah, one of those buildings that we went to, she actually got goosed. She's like, "Did you goose me?" But it was none of us. It was a ghost that was downstairs in the basement area where they'd hide these different things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now just go ahead and admit it.
Yeah, it was me. No, I'm just kidding.
And you gotta get your jokes on. So, I know how that is. You find a weak link, and then you're gonna exploit it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that I haven't done that.
Not me.
It just keeps things light and joyful. That'd be, yeah, gosh.
So, Craig, go ahead.
I hate this medication. It's already kicking in. About time for me to go to bed.
Well, we are just about at the end of our time, but before we went there, I was going to ask Jason, have you ever had anything attached to you or try anything with you from an investigation, or that just so happened upon you?
It was, I haven't had anything like of the sexual nature, but I have had, and I want to say me and Craig both, at the same investigation, we went through a bout of oppression for a couple months, and neither one of us knew about the other one. being, oppressed and stuff by the location. You know, even though we have been worked together for so long, we're best friends, and and all that stuff. It was weird to the point of, we were each kind of dealing with our own separate issues, but from the investigation, but neither one of us knew that we were going through it at the same time until we talked about it. I think it was like a year or so later.
Yeah.
And that was kind of freaky, because I was dealing with my own demons, and he was dealing with his, and we were going about our daily lives, and still doing investigations and stuff, and carrying on like normal. But as paranormal investigators, that kind of comes with the territory, and then we start talking about it one day, and we just kind of looked at each other and went, "No shit," and it was like that thing went off,
Did you feel like, generally you guys would talk to each other about stuff like this, but whatever was oppressing you made you feel like you couldn't share that with each other, and so you had to go through it on your own and didn't even talk about it till much later?
Yeah, it was a pretty hard time. We were very good at keeping things to ourselves. When we're doing investigation stuff, it's strictly business, and that personal stuff, we can keep out of the picture. And I don't think that either one of us really wanted to admit to the other one, saying, "Hey, I get this problem. I don't know what to do with it." Two big burly guys don't want to break down like that.
No. And it was weird because when we started talking about it, and he was telling me, what he had went through and what he was going through, and I was like going, I went through the exact same thing at the exact same time, like word for word. It was the depression. It was the why, what's going on? Why? And it was like we were still doing the same, work and, doing paranormal stuff and this and that, but it was like just that overcoming of anxiety and stress and all this stuff. And, when stuff like that happens, and especially in the paranormal, you're like, I just kind of deal with it myself, because we know how to deal with that, and when we started talking about it, and it was like, I was like, holy shit, are you serious? Yeah, it was like a 2 or 3 month ordeal. We both were going through it at the exact same time, exact same emotions, and all that stuff. And then it was just like something there at that location had just targeted us, and it didn't, I don't think it really mattered. Now that I look back, it didn't really matter what we did, how well we covered ourselves, prepared, and all that stuff. I think that it was just it was so strong that it just happened,
Yeah, those situations suck, but I'm glad, it only lasted 3 months, and it makes you wonder, why did it only last 3 months? Same amount of time for both you guys. And it's interesting how one entity can actually affect two people. Some people have a hard time wrapping their mind around that, like the Hat Man. Well, there's no way one entity could be in several places at once. Yeah, there is. But it does happen. But I'm so grateful that you guys were able to come on for the first hour and hang out with us and share your experiences and attachments and such.
It's been a pleasure always.
How do our listeners find you guys if they have any questions or experiences or whatnot to share with you and to pick up one of your awesome t-shirts?
Thank you. You can contact Craig Hoffner on Facebook or Jason Fife on Facebook. We both have our logos on our Facebook, so we're pretty easy to find. Or you can find us at the on the Knoxville Paranormal Society page as well. You can contact us on there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, you guys, for for hanging out with us, and I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas.
You do the same. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Guys.
Same to you.
Nighty-night. Well, on that note, you guys, we are going to our first musical break where we have Griff with Let Freedom Ring. We have Chico with Last Forever. Roy Washington, who is our musical person. He actually gives us all our music that we use with Subliminal. And Chico again with They Beyond Me. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Okay, yo, here's the scoop. You can still be a slave, you're whipped and looped. That's the truth. Got big houses, nice cars. That's real cute, but it doesn't mean nothing. You ain't free to choose. When I say free to choose, no alarm clock, don't gotta hit the snooze. The world is backwards, I'm so confused. They say freedom of speech, but when you speak your mind, they blow a fuse. Just being honest, common sense and common. It's kind of ironic. My freedom, recently bought it. Now I'm a target. If I do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, come on, man. Let freedom ring. Yeah. United States become divided states. The world is filled with all kinds of shades, and still resegregate. Parents separate from the children, that's not okay. We should be free to laugh and play. Do it now, before you pass away. Fight for what's right, enough for everybody to get a piece of the pie. Brainwash, social media, full of lies. Go to work, pay bills, then you die. Need a breakaway, guns, get rid of the AKs. Our ancestors paved way since the slave days, but we still hurting. Carry that burden. Stop playing victim. Beat the system. Love is love. It should be shown. Can't grow unless you leave your comfort zone. This I know. I learned all this from the mentorship. Kids don't know what independent is. Take advantage what your parents did. Go against the grid. You have to. Like going to the bathroom. Learn the right songs. Cause of Matthew. Liberty like statue. They call now the present. Cause it's a gift. It should be cherished. Last name fearless. Not Harris. All thanks to my parents' parents. Now, love the last name every time that I hear it. Cause I know what it represents. Climb the fence. So now I got freedom. Such a beautiful thing. Freedom. Such a wonderful thing. Freedom. Such a beautiful thing. Freedom. Such a wonderful thing.
Last forever. The rain never, rain never, rain never, rain never, rain never. The last forever. The rain never lasts forever. Somebody you can call your own. You're different than your phone. When you asking me, act like you wrong. Your heart say stay when your patience gone. When y'all together, you still feel alone. Yeah, the rain never lasts forever. 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 Lasts forever. The rain never, rain never, rain never, lasts forever.
Yeah. Come on.
I see you, Roy Washington, man. What's happening, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. They never say it in words, but in deeds wars declared. Justice is gone and the sight's none is spared. Especially the kingdom encased in melanin. But these suckers are weak, kings and queens will ride again. Come on. Slackers with badges, the white sheets and the maggots. Watch them fall as I tag them because I'm better than average. A sharp shooter with words with my eye to the scope. Can they escape when I've donned the black cape? Is hell no. I'm a ninja for right, who can vanish from sight. Pick you off in the night, but still the Lord is my light. Perceiving all you see, the truth behind the scenes. Instead of jumping bandwagons, the light says believe in me. Cause you're a puppet, no doubt. 45th turns you out. Though I saw your lips moving, no sound came out. So I was sent from the heavenlies, born so you could find me. Swam the scene and stream, took flight during the 90s. Landed in grace, wrote a verse of hip hop. Got with Jay and found the taste was smooth as butterscotch. We had hood love and money. Problems, they be on me, but we stayed in the flow. And had juice like Manolo.
They can try to oppress, you can try to impress. I'm just after success, none less. You can look in my eyes, you can feel in my vibes. Came down inside and it's so subliminal. I got God on my side, I ain't worried about none. If it ain't about money, then it ain't about none. Laughing at my enemies, I know they see me coming. If it ain't subliminal, they can't even see me. Politics abolish it, I'm here to raise the conscience. For every face and race up in this nation trapped in poverty. Diamond in the rough, need to cut, shape it and polish it. Bad thoughts cripple life, we can be an optimist. We can be an optimist, reconstruct apocalypse. Broke people always hating, mix me with that gossiping. Rose up in the concrete, rain and sun, I'm blossoming. My people need to be like kind of Velcro, then we conquering. They can try to oppress, you can try to impress. I'm just after success, none less. You can look in my eyes, you can feel in my vibes. Came down inside and it's so subliminal. I got God on my side, I ain't worried about none. If it ain't about money, then it ain't about none. Laughing at my enemies, I know they see me coming. If it ain't subliminal, they can't even see me coming.
The 45th is a joke, and he's weak in disgust. He plans to divide, but there's no stopping us. If we have to fight, go toe to toe for our lives, we prevail and got sight, cause only light I recite. I blow my lyrics like a shotgun, camouflaged inside the tracks. Now watch the suckers run. Not moving fast enough, heads up, now here I come. I designed 50 ways to make this murder fun. I spit the lyrical rain that coat the concrete, that give life and take form. Arise and walk the street. Am I the greatest to spit? Feel the spray and we'll see. Let it dry, all the lies and the truth will point to me. Even when surrounded by a million MCs, I'm the one under the sun who's the greatest of these. I got the Holy Ghost juking and tapping while I'm rapping. Sticking and moving like Roy Jones, I'll make it happen. Even animals move when the novelist is rocking. My doggy started barking, his ears just a flopping. Subliminally, I penetrate camps like an enemy. Flicking the lights, cancel sight, cause you're not seeing me.
They can try to oppress, you can try to impress. I'm just after success, none less. You can look in my eyes, you can feel in my vibes. Live a king down inside. And it's so subliminal. I got God on my side, I ain't worried about none. If it ain't about money, then it ain't about none. Laughing at my enemies, I know they see me coming. If it ain't subliminal, they can't even see me coming. Players done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one. I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me. 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 They be on me, why? They be on me. 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 They be on me, why? I'm like, look up in the sky, that's a bird, no, that's a plane. Chico just that fly, so make it splurge and make it rain. I keep that Scrabble mind, I got words and I got games. And she like circle goggles, she got curves and she got frame. And if mama a rider, I'ma swerve all in her lane. She give me gobble gobble, she superb with that good brain. Now baby, bout that action, make them birds drive me insane. I'm a jigger, low in action, mama purchase this good thing. And fire y'all employees, you dealing with a boss. And kick it with a player, I got juice and I got sauce. You messing with them losers, I feel sorry for your loss. I'm a heartthrob, baby, I can feel your beating pulse. GQ, so you know this player's done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one, I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me. 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 They be on me, why? They be on me. 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 They be on me, why? Juice daddy, baby, looky here, looky here. Milwaukee bought them bucks, fear the deer, fear the deer. I'm feeling like a player, must be pure, must be pure. So let me drop this knowledge in your ear, in your ear. I'm driving your chick crazy, let me steal, let me steal. She crying like a baby, I see tears, I see tears. She thick from the front, I see rear, I see rear. I see me in them panties, I see mirror, I see mirror. Fly guy, baby, you messing with a pilot. King of the ship, you messing with a pirate. Ding dong ditch, make her open, then I'm out it. I'm getting all in that belly, turned her into a Audi. GQ, so you know this player's done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one, I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me. 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 They be on me, why? They be on me. 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 They be on me, why?
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. For the first hour, we had Lost Souls, Paranormal Detectives, Jason Hollywood Fife, and Craig Hoffner. Unfortunately, but fortunately, Jason had to go in for work early in the morning, which usually does night shift, but so they had to go. But what I'd like to do is carry on an old tradition. I actually said it right that time, Dennis. Telling ghost stories around Christmas time. So if anybody has a ghost story that they'd like to share for Christmas, and you're a part of the We Are Paradox Media after party, feel free to jump into the after party early, and you could share your Christmas ghost story that way. We have Dennis on the line, who has joined our after party early, and he said he's got a few ghost stories he could share.
Yes, I have a few. Where do you want to start?
Where would you like to start?
I'm not quite sure, but with my old house that I used to live in had a vortex in it and freaked my kids out, and I kind of like had to ban them. And yeah, they didn't like me. Ghosties? Yeah, they don't like me too much. When I come up on their face, right? See, you were mentioning the ghost sex. Oh yeah, that was interesting. And yeah, where am I going with this? Yes. Yeah, they really don't like me because when the spirits kind of like get um fingered, well, not fingered, it's pointed out, okay, pegged. Yeah, they don't like it too much, and they start to hide, right? Because for me, they come as shapeshifters or doppelgangers, all right, and they try to make themselves something that they're not to get closer to me. As soon as I figure them out, they run, and that's when I'll chase them away from my loved ones, and I'll just leave them alone because they try. And yeah, we had one bad energy that was living in a closet. Well, in the basement, kind of came up to the closet in the first floor, and then tried to infect my children. And my ex-wife was pretty sensitive too, so she figured something was going on, and she didn't know what was going on, but she knew something. And so I had to do my clearing or whatnot. And yeah, because this dude, he was drawing in innocence, okay, like innocence, because it was a vortex, right? And they were all trapped within his vortex. And then I came along, and then things started to get mixed up. And then that's when I had to straighten things out. And my children kind of like know it. It's nothing really visual, but physically, psychologically, mentally, yeah. The big energies can get to you. And there were, again, the innocents that were kind of like trapped between dimensions, right? And I had to kind of like I kind of like had to kind of like out the negative dude, right? Negative energy, out him, and put him in his place, and yeah, and he never came back. In the innocence, like there was a young girl. There was a young girl especially, and it wasn't pretty. Hey, good evening, Carl. And yeah, and I had to do what I do because I'm an energy worker. Okay, I really don't do witchcraft or that kind of modality, right? And yeah, after that, like I got hard and heavy on him, and yeah, and he left. Fuck me, sorry. And yeah, he was gone. And my children, felt that. Again, it's all energy. My kids are like sensitive and they could feel energy, right? And yeah, I just had to clear, and it's all good after that. So yeah, that's one. That's one. Oh, I went
we got
to
Carl in the
Royal...
room too. Welcome, Carl. Just want to say that really quick before we continue.
Hi. I just loaded you on my tablet, so I don't have to look at my little phone anymore.
Nice.
There you go.
Making me so low. Okay. Go on with your story.
No, it's not a story. It's an experience. I'm really, picky about, semantical about that. But yeah, when I went to the Royal York, I spent some time down there. It's a hotel in Toronto. They used that. I forget what year it was built, and I picked up a lot of energy. Something was going on, and I had to figure it out. And it turned out that that hotel was turned into a military hospital. And it was like the ballroom. I couldn't even go in the ballroom. It was just like bad. Like, I'll just leave this. And even the room that I was staying in, I stayed there twice in both rooms. I just picked up negative energy. And it's hard to describe. How can I say? Where that I can see like little mini movies, right, in my head, where I can see back in time. Hey, Len, what's going on? You sound like an alien.
Continue.
And anyway,
Hey.
yeah. And going to historic sites, like battle sites, right? I can almost see like the death and the despair and the struggle that they go through at that time. And it's disheartening. And again, it's hard for me if I don't know what I'm coming into. I figured out once, whatever, when I'm there, and then put the pieces of the puzzle together. And then I speak, right? I do speak like this is all telepathic, whatnot, right? And then I'll share, because there's a lot of wonders and wanderers around still. And yeah, it's kind of like give them direction, right? It's like, yeah, you're here now. You're not supposed to be here, all right? You don't know where home is. Here, let me share something with you, all right? What you should be looking for. And then at the end of the day, I feel more clear. Anywhere I go, it's like that. I don't know, Carl. Are you an empath? Are you an empath? A sensitive?
Yes.
Yes. Do you pick up the same thing when you go into historic sites, or even meeting people face to face? You can read them easy.
Yes.
Right. Do you feel sometimes, some days, that that's a curse or a gift?
Only when negative is involved, and I have to, hopefully use a blocking technique, or just leave the area. Because it's not
What if you couldn't leave the area? What do you do to block?
I've developed a movement of my hand sideways. It's inconspicuous, so no one, it's not noticeable. Like, it's just I brush them away. And, I mean, if I'm face to face, if someone's near me, I just go like that. And I've trained myself. That means, just cast to the side. The hard part comes when I'm blindsided. And you get hit with negativity and you're not ready for it. It just, just deal with it.
Yeah. When you get blindsided, how is it that, I don't know if, I'm not going to say that you enable yourself to get blindsided, but when they do, you, is there anything different that you do? Besides just swiping them away?
No, I just live with it right now. I've only been in impasse for, it's coming up actually for this day. It's been 2 years. It's March 21st of December 2 years ago. I was doing a meditation with some people in recovery, and we were listening to guided meditation by a woman named Sandra Bodine, or Sarah Bodine, and it was about opening up the heart chakra. And this time, for some reason, I decided to listen to her and her mom and things like that. I don't normally do because it's uncomfortable. So I did that, and she said, "Okay, now raise your face to the sky," and I did that. And for some reason, I thought, "Come on in," and then I proceeded to have what was referred to as a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, which basically was terrifying at the time. Shocking. I had no idea what was going on. I'm not going to get into that right now, but basically, after that, I was in a state of bliss for about 15 hours. The rest of the evening, that night, morning, I got exposed to negativity. I was in contact with California, who I knew was into Mid-Eastern things, and saying what happened to me. And she said, "Oh, you had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening." And she had one 18 years prior to that. She said, "I'll help you with it." Because I was experiencing the feelings that I had never experienced before. I was like knowledge that I never had before, and I created everything fell out of that. And it still is. So I'm rather new to the empathic things. I went to some meetups and meeting in class, and I was dealing with people who have been in impasse all their lives and how miserable their lives were because they didn't know how to deal with negativity, and that's what they did for me. So I was very in the group, and back to my own again.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a 15 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta ask you a question, Carl.
Yeah.
You're a little bit muffly or whatnot. I'm trying to follow you. How about has your dream time shifted in the last 3 years? Like, do you remember your dreams? Yeah.
They're definitely much more livid and vivid. I still have trouble remembering them, but I dream a lot. I go to 3 different worlds or 3 different places. People there know me. I know them, but I do know them. Nobody from that I know here.
Yeah, I find dream time fascinating because I get a lot of communication, like you were mentioning, downloads or whatnot, or communication. Because for me, I share my human experience with them, if you want to call them them. And they share with me, and I remember everything. Like that's a curse on its own. Like, like it's good, at times. But sometimes it's like, man, get out of my brain, just let me sleep. And I can't. I can't do that anymore. So 3 years you've become into this.
Yeah. Well, 2 years.
2 years? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had it in December 21st, 2018. So tomorrow will be 2 years.
What was your first experience again? Sorry. Like, you don't have to share, but if it's like personal.
The awakening?
Yeah, the first time.
Okay, when I said come on in, roughly a second later, I saw this great big giant. I mean, it was just white, pure white flash, third eye type flash. Roar of jet engines in my ears, and about a bazillion volts running between my root and my crown, straight up my spine to the top of my head. And I mean, it was powerful. It was electrifying is putting it mildly. And then as that was going, that energy, that lightning, it then perpetuated throughout my whole body, down every nerve, basically going from my spine outward, across my back, down my arms to my fingers, down my hip, all the way down to my ankles, and it just spread out right now on every hair on my body. As I'm saying this, it's standing on end because that's what happened at the time. And then I went OBE, and I saw myself arching back with light flying out of my chest and my throat, and then I don't remember anything until all of a sudden I heard the meditation again, the voice of the woman doing the meditation. So this could have taken 3 seconds. It could have taken 10 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. No, thank you for sharing. Yeah, thanks for sharing. It's interesting. Do you believe that you're... Here we go. That you're... how can I say this? I don't know how.
Meanwhile, we do have the champ that has come into the after party, and we also have Mr. Lynn Dorman here, his beautiful wife in the background. Welcome, guys. I invited everybody in to tell ghost stories around the fire, which we don't have a fire here, but we can imagine one. So, Carl, I don't know if you had a ghost story to share. I know Dennis was able to share a couple of his, but I was just curious, like, any real ghost stories you've experienced or one that you like around the holidays?
No ghosts. Never saw a ghost. Don't really. I have never saw a ghost. I've never had a ghost experience.
My first ghost experience, sorry. I think I was like 4 or 5, and I'm sleeping in the backyard of the porch. And on a sleeping bag, right? And there's no light, or there was the kitchen light on, and it shone through across the porch. And then there was a shadow passed it through, right? And it was hovering, and I didn't understand this. And I looked at it. I was trying to figure out where the shadow was coming from because it was a shadow. And and it was just that's all I contributed to as being it was just an entity that was just passing by, saying hi.
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah, that's all. Hey, don't mean to freak you out. All right, gotta go.
Well,
You got me.
Lynn, I know, Lynn does paranormal investigation or has in the past, and I'm sure he's got a ghost story or two he could yarn. Lynn? You're muted.
You talking to me or someone else?
You!
You're up.
You're next in line.
You're on the stage.
I've never seen
Yeah.
it though.
You're on the stage, Len.
You haven't?
I have never ever seen a ghost.
Whoa.
Who, me? Yes.
How about any
Should I tell you
awkward
about the one that lived in
happenings?
the house that Galen and I lived in? Should I talk about the one that had sex with in Chicago?
What?
Whichever one you'd prefer to share.
Yeah. I want to hear about that one in Chicago.
Well, there's several in Chicago. I was there for 14 years. The one in the base of the funeral, and was his name was Bruno Rodi, and he was a bomber. He made bombs for Al Capone.
So was it intimate?
Oh, we're Bruno.
You gotta ask that question, right?
All Bruno did was knock my head off. He pushed a fellow investigator I was down there with, and he walked right through me while I was holding a K2 meter. I could feel him walk through me, and the K2 meter went off, and he passed through my hand that was holding the K meter.
Yeah, so that was a paranormal event, right? It was not necessarily visual, but the entity.
Yeah, that was a paranormal event.
Right. Yeah. Moving objects. Yeah, obviously.
Well, yeah, and when they have the strength to be able to manipulate things and push you.
Hey, this guy was kind of skinny, not admittedly. He was only about 100, maybe 160 pounds. But he was about 6'3", young guy. Been standing there for a while, and all of a sudden you get shoved backwards in front of about 5 or 6 witnesses.
Wow.
And on video.
Wow. I never had that.
Got that one recorded. The one with the hat did not get recorded, mainly because I was holding the camera. But we had somebody else on a flare, something appearing in front of me, and when I stood up and approached the light that they were seeing on the flare, and remember we were in a room with no electricity, not at this location anyway, and when I stood up, he hit the hat that I was wearing, the brim of it, so hard the impact, and had to go behind me about 3 feet to get the hat off the floor. He hit that hard. So Tessa, you tell me how much energy that requires.
Takes a lot of focus.
I had to damn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was holding about 20 spirits there to keep him company. He was one whose movement was restricted. He was in the building, was incidentally the same month I was born in, July 1956. And it was one of the largest funerals in Chicago at the time. Well over 1,000 cars were in the funeral. Since then, his house has been, nobody visits his grave. So he was there in the funeral home, stuck close to where he lived. He lived a couple of blocks down the road. Somebody mentioned it was Drew mentioned his parents, and a friend of his parents running a grocery store. That's what Bruno Rota started being. He opened up a grocery. He was a grocer there in Chinatown in Chicago, and he ran a Black Hand Gang in Chicago. If you don't know what a Black Hand Gang is, for a little bit of Italian history, it was the gang that would welcome and sometimes bring in Italian immigrants into various areas. This being, of course, being Chicago, and they would offer to get them jobs. They would be required to pay the person who got them the job money off that job. And if they didn't pay, they saw what the black hands were. Gloves to keep their hands from bleeding when they punched you in the face. And Bruno learned how to evolve from grocer and enforcer to the head of the mob. There's called the 26 gang. They're in Chicago. And by the way, this particular now it's closed up. It's being renovated. Pub that at the time I was there, former Northeast Street. Locations in one of the prime neighborhoods for the 26th Street gang. Oh, Robert. Hello, Robert.
Yeah, what's going on, Robert?
He got caught. He got caught because he made his money by extorting money by threatening to blow up homes. He would set an explosive device under a home near the gas main, and if he got caught by threatening a guy that he wanted a payment of $10,000. This is the 1920s, 19 teens actually, before I got to Chicago. And the police, guy called the police anyway. The police called him and put him in jail for that. When I was sent to Chicago from New York, Al Capone took over the 26th Street. And as of 2000, the great 1990s per 1980s, 1990s purge of the gangs of Chicago left 3 standing gangs, and one of them the 26th Street gang. The bar was usually attended by Italians that worked in the local place where they had conventions, local convention hall, and other people that worked in the area and, of course, were in the mob. And he knocked my head on. Nobody wanted to come in to the back room, which the room I was in, the old ice room, where the bodies on the ice. Outside that room was where they drained the bodies with blood. In fact, in that bar, it's sealed now. But when the bar was open, it stunk in the base of the pipe where they used to drain the blood directly into the sewer of Chicago was still open. And what you were smelling was a little bit of sewer gas leaking up into the building. That was still there. People, they had their Coke dispenser machine. If you've ever gone to a bar, you know the push button device. They give you Coke, 7-Up, Upper 10, whatever. They had all downstairs. Wow. The suppliers did not want to go downstairs to check on the boat supplies, etc., the CO2 supplies, by themselves. The employee of the bar would go downstairs at all by themselves. Even the bartender, which was a fast young lady, went into the room that I was talking about where my dad got knocked off, into that room by herself. It was kind of creep factor. I was the only person who had the cojones to go in there and spend any time at all in that room. Many, not just a few, not several, but many paranormal investigators would go in there with me and would leave, some within 30 seconds. Others would hang on for 2 or 3 minutes. One person hung on for about 5 minutes, and I got to get. I can't. If you want to talk, we can go somewhere else. But I'm not talking to you here. I'm going back upstairs.
Did it make
one
them
guy?
sick?
He's been paranormal just for a little while. It would nauseate them, give them a headache, just a general feeling of foreboding and bad feeling. One guy, he runs stage security because he was a stage manager for Lollapalooza and many other concerts across the country. This is a badass guy. It's not somebody you want to mess with. He can kick butt. He's got big hands. He's strong as a bull. And he would not go down the stairs into the basement of that bar. My wife, as she just pointed out behind me, she's a former power lifter and a gal from the South Side. She would not go into the bathroom of this bar. Not just because of the cocaine residue in there, but the bathroom felt evil and again foreboding. And one girl walked in there. She managed to stay in there for about 5 or 6 minutes and shot a video with my camera. And she was filming through the in full spectrum with an infrared light and a UV light shining, and a light anomaly. This is not an orb. Orbs are round, and orbs a lot of times don't move. If they move, I call them a light anomaly. This is a light anomaly, oval-shaped, with a long tail. Came out of the wall over the toilet in the stall in the women's bathroom. Flew out to the center of the doorway and then flew right into the lens of the camera. This was not a bug, because a bug would have come in focus and dissipated right in front of the lens. If it had been a bug, she would have seen it.
Did you guys do any kind of like
just
clearing?
Dissipated in thin air.
Yeah.
What?
Did you guys do any kind of clearing? Like, did you try to do any like clearing? I don't know how to say this. Smudging, yeah, but
trying to X anything that might have been in there.
Correct. Yeah. It's different.
Later, after all this happened, after several events, did several investigations there. Let me tell you about one thing that happened before I go into that.
Yeah.
Then there was a paranormal group, about 8 people. We were upstairs, and it was a couple of days before Halloween. So they had a casket there with a fake skeleton in it, decked out for Halloween. So one of the girls there got you see these cheap ghost meters, right? Transparent case, red flashing light. So they don't get a whole lot. You can get for $10 to $15. We've all seen them. I don't even think anybody makes them anymore. Anyway, she put this thing inside the casket, and it started flashing, and it would not stop. We go over and pull it out of the casket, it would stop. Well, you can put it back in the casket, it started flashing. And this was nowhere near electricity. And one of the skeptic in their group looked at her and said, I tell you what, if you can make that meter stop flashing on command, I'll believe in ghosts.
Good luck with that. But sorry.
Okay. Whoever is making that meter's light flash, stop. Do not touch it. Stop what you're doing. Back away from the meter and let it go off. Let it, stop going off.
And did it?
Within a few seconds. And this guy just turned around her and was walking to the bar. They have a seat on the bar stove. Before he got to his seat, the meter stopped and stayed stopped for about 3 or 4 minutes and then back on. And it stopped within just a matter of seconds of her saying it.
Right.
Naturally, that just scared the hell out of everybody in the room because suddenly this showed that it was interactive.
Right.
It turned out there was a child spirit there being held there.
Right. Did you guys use voice boxes?
What?
Quote unquote voice box, a voice where that you can pick up EVPs, right? EVPs. Where that
spirit boxes, oculus, things like that.
Yeah.
Very few EVPs were ever picked up there.
Never? Were they used? Like, did you guys try that?
Somebody was talking all over. I had no idea what anybody said.
Or...
Well, anyway, let me go to the cleansing of the place. Hello?
Yes, the cleansing. What happened after? What happened after you
Here
cleansed?
we are back.
Yeah, what happened?
The screen froze, and it went silent. Anyway, went in there, and he was like Bruno Rodi. He was holding the other spirits there. There was no need in trying to cleanse until we got him out. And due to the fact he was practically his place, the place was still owned and rented by Italians. So, we were a bunch of Protestants running around trying to do a Catholic spirit here. We just got in front of Bruno, talked to him. I personally forgave him for everything he ever did to me, including knocking the hat off, including scaring some of my friends. I got the little girl to forgive him for holding her there. Her parents had been killed in an auto accident on the interstate just outside. She was on a survivor car wreck. But she was not a survivor. She was one of the last ones to die. Her parents were killed instantly. Anyway, I forgave him. I said, Jesus Christ forgives you for everything you've ever. Yes, you killed people. Yes, you intimidated people. Yes, you blackmailed people. You worked for Al Capone. You killed for Al Capone. But you are forgiven. And he actually accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. And
not to make a light note of this. Not to make a light note of. Sorry.
He's much happier now. He's still around. He can be contacted, but he released all the other spirits, and he's free to move around now. So he was stuck in the place because he had nowhere to go. He didn't have a house to go to. He didn't have family to go to. His descendant he was alderman in Chicago, like Bruno was one time, representing the Chinatown area. but was investigated by the FBI. And his name was Nick the Stick. He was convicted in 89, and in 90 went to federal prison. I don't know if he went to see his great grandson or not, but we got him out of that bar mainly because they were renovating the place. The rumor was they were going to turn it to a bank, but it hadn't been turned into anything yet. The economy's been bad since 2008, and I think they're just trying to structurally repair but at least Bruno was out of there. So see, I was kind of faced with having to go out.
Right.
And managed to talk him out of it.
I wanted to ask you a question. After that, did the beer delivery guys or the Coke guys go down in the basement after? just a question.
Well, they kind of had to. They had to plug the hole to the sewer because they were going to build a bank or building out to anybody. They had to stop up the sewer hole. Where they used to drain the blood out. For the not an autopsy table. What do they call it? Bombing table. And they also work. They got to start in the basement. They're going to repair the infrastructure in the house, in the building. Because it was we count the basement, 4-story building. He's 3 floors above ground in the basement. Airs was supposedly being rented, and they were having a hard time. They struggled to get the place rented, of course, because there they were on top of an old funeral home with some rather mean spirits living there. So, of course, once they found out, they were gone. And once Bruno picked up there, they were gone. They didn't talk about it anymore. And non-Catholics especially. It was Chinatown, so I imagine they had some Chinese people trying to ruin it.
Yeah, I know the Chinese don't care.
Bruno,
the Catholics just
Chinese don't care.
Well, on that note, you guys, we do have to go to our second musical break. On this break, we have Chico with They Beyond Me. We got Griff with Best Life, Chico again with Juice, and Griff with Zoo. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Players done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one. I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me. 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 They be on me, why? They be on me. 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 They be on me, why? I'm like, look up in the sky, that's a bird, no, that's a plane. Chico just that fly, so make it splurge and make it rain. I keep that Scrabble mind, I got words and I got game. And she like circle goggles, she got curves and she got frame. And if mama a rider, I'ma swerve all in her lane. She give me gobble gobble, she superb with that good brain. Now baby, bout that action, make them birds drive me insane. I'm a jigger, low in action, mama purchase this good thing. And fire y'all employees, you dealing with a boss. And kick it with a player, I got juice and I got sauce. You messing with them losers, I feel sorry for your loss. I'm a heartthrob, baby, I can feel your beating pulse. GQ, so you know this player's done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one. I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me. 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 They be on me, why? They be on me. 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 They be on me, why? Juice daddy, baby, looky here, looky here. Milwaukee bought them bucks, fear the deer, fear the deer. I'm feeling like a player, must be pure, must be pure. So let me drop this knowledge in your ear, in your ear. I'm driving your chick crazy, let me steal, let me steal. turned her any to a Audi. So you know this player's done. Hit the club, got chose like it's none. Mathematician when it come to getting numbers. I'm screaming, one, I feel like money, why? Cause they be on me, 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 why? They be on me, 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 why?
Live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. Do you and live your best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. Where you from? Who you with? Are you a blunt? Are you a clip? I do my thing, stay legit. In this world, no one's innocent. VIP, get bottles. One snap of my fingertips. See these haters like blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Talking gibberish. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. Do you and live your best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. Rolling and rolling and rolling SUV. Rolling and rolling and rolling with my homies. Rolling and rolling and rolling SUV. Rolling and rolling and rolling with my homies.
I'm going to live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm going to live my best life. Do you live your best life? Do you live your best life? Do you live your best life? I'm going to live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm going to live my best life. Do you live your best life? Do you live your best life? Do you live your best life?
I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. I'm gonna live my best life. Don't care if my head ain't right. Do you and live your best life. Don't care if my head ain't right.
I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you figure? I think I'm the I think I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you figure? Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Bucks for me. Drop the soda can, she got a crush on me. Little mama so in love with me. even taught, look up to me. Look, but it never mattered. Got these haters pissed. I control their bladder. Come across you. It's a chance to scatter. Henny on the house like a fucking ladder. See your main. Yes, I had to back her. She was being extra up and coming active. Beat it out the frame and let the glass shatter. Beat it out the frame and leave a flabbergasted. I think I got juice. I think I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you feel? I think I'm the I think I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you feel?
Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip.
Fly guy catch flight, well connected, high five. Johnny Gill, my bad chicks, my type. Pull up like Huggies, they mug. Pull up like Huggies, they love me. Pull up like Huggies, cause I'm the MC Hammer can't touch. Off that Fife hen like I slice a chicken, I was practicing. I'm a mathematician, call me Michael Bibbins. I'm a new addition, not a Buddhist. Don't wear true religion, yeah, I spit a lot. Like my tooth is missing and she gave me. Now her roof is missing, I'm the bomb, baby. Now the proof is ticking, be calm, baby. We in a new dimension. I think I got juice. I think I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you feel? I think I'm the I think I'm the hitter. They say I'm the man. I say, how do you feel?
Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip. Don't let drip, don't let drip, don't let drip.
Juice.
But you can't read. No, but you can't read. No, but you can't leave.
You can't leave.
You're right where you wanna be. That is right, yeah, with me. You're right where you wanna be.
Right with me.
You can be anything you want. If that's what you really want. You can be anything you want. All I want you to do right now is leave it soon.
All I wanna do.
All I want you to do right now is leave it soon. For God, I'm wasting time. Not trying to lose my mind. Know that I am wasting time. Not trying to lose my mind. If you won't get left behind in this rat race, go back to my place where I know it's safe. And lock myself in my room. Won't watch the news, cause it is so confused. What can I do
if I lose you?
All I want you to do right now is leave it soon.
All I wanna do.
All I want you to do right now is leave it soon.
Okay. She was a loompa, now her body super duper. Getting a lot of attention she was never used to. Hitting me up like I was Uber. Got a few miles, so I guess she's a cougar. Be a winner, never seen her with a loser. Gorilla talk, ooga booga booga. Scuba, tuba, diver, I'm a rider. Getting cider, sweet like cider. Fighter, rider, neither wants to get it going. Know it, hold it, fold it, blow it. Wait, I'm joking. Cages broken from these beasts from down east on the streets. It's a zoo.
All I want you to do right now is leave it soon.
All I wanna do.
All I
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We started off the evening with Jason Fife and Craig Hoffner from Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives. The last hour, we've been doing the after party early, so we have Dennis, Carl, Lynn, Robert, Nikki, Champ. I might be missing somebody because I'm not looking at the screen, but it's been an awesome last hour. For the third hour, I was wanting to tell some more ghost stories, but traditionally, Christmas in England is a time for scaring the bejesus out of children by telling ghost stories around the fire. Charles Dickens led the way with his most famous ghost story, A Christmas Carol. But what of the real ghost stories said to haunt the land at Christmas time? So we have, I have 7 spine-tingling stories that I can share with you guys. I'm going to share one, and then Nick had one that he wanted to share, and then I don't know if Robert or Nikki had one they'd like to share, but this story is called The Haunted Christmas Feast at Alcatraz. The island of Alcatraz off the coast of San Francisco has a long and spooky history. In its early days, Native Americans allegedly used to banish miscreants to the island as punishment, where they were reportedly plagued by the local spirits. Alcatraz, of course, became a notorious federal prison in 1934, housing criminals such as Al Capone, before it was shut down in 1963. Today, visitors to the island report hearing screams, the clanging of metal doors, and the sound of voices within the walls. One of the more famous tales associated with the island supposedly occurred in the 1940s when Warden James Johnston held a Christmas Day party at his residence for the staff at the prison. The good cheer is said to have been brought to a swift halt when an apparition sporting mutton chop whiskers and a gray suit appeared. The temperature in the room plummeted and the fire blew out. Before returning to normal when the spirit disappeared about a minute later, the rattled guards were too scared to stay in the residence, and the rest of the Christmas celebration ended abruptly. Let me go over here to Nick's story. Alright, so paranormal story for him. He says, so back at the old house, him and his family were watching one of the Matrix movies, and he said him and his mom saw this huge green light in the kitchen. He said his mom and he looked at each other and said really nothing because they were speechless. And he said his dad was asleep on the couch, so he really didn't get to witness it. Pretty crazy when you got stuff happening at your house. And as I mentioned, we have Robert and Nikki as well in the room. Robert, did you have a ghost or Christmas story that you'd like to share? Or a ghost Christmas story?
Well, at the place that we were at, after which has the Aboriginal ghost in it, we had the spare parts workshop of my parents that we're living next to, and I am dead set sure that there was something up in the mezzanine floor of that it was a dark entity of some kind. And I used to go over there to hook up to the internet, because this was back in 95, 96, and I'd have to hook up in one of the small offices on one side of the building and cast a phone line over to the other side of the building, hook it up to the fax machine, and every time I'd go through to either hook it up or unhook it, I swear there was something looking at me. That's also the same building that was placed on the land where a 13-year-old girl died of cancer. So I'm sure that she was there as well. Yeah. That's it for me.
Creepy. Nikki?
There we go. I was trying to unmute myself. I was having a hard time doing it. Well, I don't have any Christmas ghost stories, but I've got a lot of ghost and paranormal stories. The one that I've told the most often is the woman. When I was about between the ages of 4 and 8, I lived in a specific house in Seattle. And the woman who owned it, the couple who owned it before, they had just been newly married. And 2 weeks after they were married, they were in the house, and she went out to go grocery shopping, and she was hit head on, killed her instantly. And from what I understand, when I was growing up, she always wanted children. Well, didn't think anything of it. We moved into the house, and I started having a lot of paranormal. I was having paranormal experiences before that, but I was having a lot more paranormal experiences, and she would sit on the edge of my bed and sing me to sleep almost every night. And then when my grandmother, a number of years later, came to live with my mom and I, my grandmother would always say, "Joycey, there's a spook in the house. There's a spook in the house." And my mom would always go, she'd poo-poo it. And I'd be asking Grandma, "Do you hear her singing like right now?" And Grandma would say yes. And so I'd have experiences like that. There's another experience when my mom and I were traveling from Seattle to New York via car, drove cross country, and we'd get to Gettysburg. And as an 8-year-old kid, 8 or 9, I think, I can't remember exactly how old I was right now, I saw the entire battlefield. I saw it as it was while I was looking at it right then and there. And I saw seconds later, I had turned away, looked at something else, and I looked back at the field, and I actually saw the full-on battle. And it was very much like what Len had talked about with the anxiety that the men felt, and the war and the sound of guns and the trauma, lots and lots of trauma, lots and lots of death. I even eventually had a soldier come up to me and had out of nowhere, this woman came up to me, and they're dressed fully in that time period clothing. To me, it was costume clothing because, hello, I was a kid. That's what I thought of it as. Oh, it's costumes. They're dressed in costumes. And it wasn't until much, much later that I understood what I saw. So there's a lot of things like that. Going through Philly and basically going through Philadelphia, there were to me, they were small towns. Mom was like, "Oh no, this is the outskirts of the city." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I would see a horse and buggy, and yet a car drive right behind it, and the horse and buggy would disappear. And I'm like, that's interesting. So there's a lot of paranormal that I've seen. The kind of ghosts that I've seen full-bodied apparitions in my teenage years, and that was always really interesting. A lot of light orbs, light colored orbs, different colored orbs, fairies and things like that. So yeah, it makes things interesting in one's life, say the least. I don't have any real specific holiday, any specific holiday ones, but I know that, like, if I'm in a room filled with people, I have a tendency to shy away from very large sections of crowds because they're bringing their family with them, and I'm usually feeling that family, and unless there's a real specific message, I'll keep my mouth shut. Or I tried to. Had a situation just real recently, in fact, and somebody on the phone was talking, and unexpectedly somebody was standing next to me saying, "Tell them I love them." And I'm like, "Excuse me? I don't know you. I don't know this person. I don't even know if it's going to be well received." And they were pretty insistent. So you get stuff like that. And it's just part and parcel to life on a daily basis for me. So you kind of get used to it.
Did you ever have one that was really scary or freaked you out more than any regular one?
There was, when I was a teacher, I walked through, it's in the Cedar Woolley area of Washington State. Can't think of the name of the facility, very large hospital-esque type facility. And yeah, it's not an area I ever care to walk through again. They do the different organizations do walkthroughs through that facility every once in a while. And as an adult, I'm like, nope, no, thank you. Not my thing. There's too many hospitals, retired hospitals, retired mental facilities. Not my thing to walk through, because sometimes you get some hardcore, serious paranormal, and sometimes you don't. But when you do, it can get really freaky. I remember being on that property and having something run through me. Literally, I could hear it running behind me and actually run through me. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And I kept my mouth shut, because at that time you didn't say anything. Otherwise, you're considered really freaky and you start losing friends real fast. So I just kept my mouth shut.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you not challenge these neg energies? Like challenge them, like face to face? But you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you do now. I didn't back then. When I was growing up, I did not challenge them, because I didn't understand a lot of things. And my grandmother always told me, we don't talk about those things. Those are a no-no. We don't talk about those things. People will believe that you're crazy. And there was a situation. Oh, God, I'm trying to remember how old I was. I think I was somewhere around 6 or 7. And I was in her apartment, and we're on the 3rd story of this building, and there's this man floating out the window. And I asked my grandmother, why was he, and I labeled it as he was standing there, not floating. I just said he was standing there. And she goes, well, she gave some excuse, because she thought he was standing on the sidewalk. At the time, she had recently been blind, so she couldn't see what I was seeing, and she started describing bits and pieces of him, and I went, yeah, and he's got, and I finished off her sentence, and she goes, he's not standing on the sidewalk, is he, Nicole? And I went, no, he's not. And she said, well, those are the kinds of things that we don't talk about. Those are hush-hush things. Those you keep quiet. Those things
back in the day.
That's way back in the day, yeah. That was back in the 70s. So, and she was raised to where she was raised by, her father was a Baptist minister.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
He really didn't say anything, or you'd get your ass beat. So,
you're a witch. You're a witch. You should be burned. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yep.
Leaning with the devil.
And so
Naughty little girl.
The kids learn to keep their mouths shut. So she raised me to where she and my mom raised me, and my grandmother was like, no, those are things you keep quiet. You don't ever talk about that kind of stuff. So I did. It wasn't until I was somewhere between 8 and 10 years old that when we were on that trip, that when I started seeing people in what I still to this day call it period costumes. Well, it wasn't period costumes. That's what they were wearing. I was seeing ghosts walking down the street. Well, we're driving in a car on the right-hand side of the road, and you got horses and carriages and all other things going down the left side of the road. And then all of a sudden, then you got a car, and it's like, wait a minute. So, yeah, there's just, and that doesn't even go into any of the ET stuff that I know and have experienced.
I
but
understand these things.
Stories, yeah. I mean, full body apparitions. I've had a full body apparition stand before me less than 3.5 feet from me. So, bright white light in the shape of a human form. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that. So,
my ex-wife would talk about like her experiences, and she is quite sensitive herself. And her family didn't want to talk about these things, but when she married me, she couldn't hide from me like what she sees. And it's like I'll call her Lady Madam Max. It's like, yeah, I know what's going on here. Like I was mentioning about the dark energies when what's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I walk through a building and I pick up something and I'm like, you will leave me alone or I will defend myself.
Correct.
And they either back off or they try to play games. And I'm like, right. Oh, really? Oh, playing games, huh? Okay.
Yeah, try me. Try me.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
Yeah, I had last year in 2019, we were staying at a hotel along the ocean, Washington State, and it was on Native American ground, and all of our phones, all of our electronics would drain of battery power. And when I walked into the hotel room, I could feel something. I could sense it, but I couldn't tell exactly what it was. It wasn't until 2 days later, we were there for 5 days, I believe. It wasn't until not 2 days later, the second day, that I went, okay, I'm done with this bullshit. And I sat down on the bed and I went, if you are going to be causing this, then I am going to go to the shaman. I can't think of what there was a specific term that I used with him. And come to find out, it was a man who had died on the property years and years and years before the hotel was even built. And he liked to walk through the different hotel rooms and pester different people. And I went, buddy, you and I are going to have a chat. And we're having it now because I'm going to be here a while. And you and I, no. This was a guy who was a Native American gentleman. And I told him that I would go straight to the head Native American, it's not a council, I can't think of what the term is, of the hotel. And that stopped him cold in his tracks because he knew I would do it. I'd start talking to head management, and I explained to him exactly what I would do and who I would contact. And he quieted down, and I said, we can commune together in the same stinking room. If you want to stay here, that's fine. But don't pester me, or I will defend myself, and I will also make some contacts. And he calmed right down. He was like, okay. And he's like, so what are you doing here? What's going on? And we ended up having a nice conversation. I'm like, so why are you being pissy? He goes, because I enjoy getting the reaction out of people. And I was like, wow, okay, well, now I know.
That's what they'll do.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, and you know what, with negative energies or whatnot, what I'll do with up on them is I'll just say, listen, I have friends. Now, they're not my in real life friends. Okay, they're my etheric friends. Multidimensionally higher planers, right? And I'll say, yeah, you want me to call them up? You want me to call them up? All right. I got your number. Okay, I got your number, and they shut up. Okay. And,
go
ahead, try.
I have a tendency. I have a tendency not to call on that level of hierarchy beings unless I absolutely have to. And if I have to, they better frickin' watch out. Because they don't take shit.
Do it all the time, man. Do it all the time.
The hierarchy beings, they don't like... If they get pissed, you don't want them pissed. Shit at all.
No, listen, I'll piss them off. Because there's stages, right? Okay, I'm going to say this quick and fast. Is that when you call up on my friends, I'm going to call up on you. And then you got to know, because I know where you're coming from, and I'm going to call up a few of my friends. So, yeah, let's have it out and see what happens at the end of the day. All right? Because, you know what? Karma and Dharma, right? If you're creating karma, guess what? I got lots of Dharma, and I can spend karma on you. Okay? Easy. Okay? I've got no fear. Okay? Shit. Some of these guys, like some of these weaker negative energy spirits, they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. Dealing with like people's like as ourselves here, most. You want to play the game? Let's go. All right. End of story. I don't care. I don't curse. Well, I could curse. I could cast upon individuals myself. But no, man, it's out of my hands. I just set it up, and it comes back up on them. All right, out of my hands, man. My hands are clean. All right, and then they have to deal with what universe? I'll say universe deals their hand, and that's it. Done. It's just so easy that way. It doesn't cost me a dime. Just saying. Anyway, sorry. Continue. Nikki.
No, that was it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't I mean, there were other spirits on the lower levels of the hotel. That was kind of cool. Seeing half spirits, that was weird. It's been a long time since I've seen a half embodied human being. It's been quite a while. But I have seen them, and that was kind of cool at the hotel. And saw another walk through tables. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot you can do that. I think he did it just to see my reaction. Different spirit altogether than the one that was up in my room next to me. But yeah.
Yeah, you get positive, you get negs, you know.
And there was a couple of hot spots on the main floor of the hotel, but nothing negative. The stuff that was on the main floor of the hotel, it wasn't negative. It's kind of like spirits just doing looky-loos, just seeing what was going on, what kind of activities people were doing. It's kind of cool. But the guy up in the room, he'd been there since before the hotel was built, and he liked to play pranks. And I'm like, that's not necessarily a prank. So we had a little conversation, and he calmed his butt down, and then we kind of worked things through, which was fine. But yeah, there are times where you can walk into a building and not pick up anything, and then there are other times where you walk and you're not expecting it, and you walk into a building and boom. And other times you can feel the building or wherever you're heading
before you even
walk
into it.
Oh man, yeah, way big time. I mean, it's the kind of stuff where you're like, I kind of don't want to go there, but curiosity's getting to me.
Yeah, and those ones that get you, that notice you, pick you out, is that they know that there's somebody who's holding a vibration that you hold that's about to walk into their house. Okay.
Yep.
And they have to like prep. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Did it on a cemetery. Got called to a cemetery. I got drawn. Yeah, that's the interesting things. We had at that time there was a djinn that was on that property, and it was eating souls, which I didn't even know could be done.
Ew.
At the time. Yeah, it was actually eating the souls of the deceased in the cemetery, and it was torturing the ones that it was leaving alive. And they called out to me and drew me straight to them, and I went, oh God. I didn't even get my feet on the ground at a car outside of the cemetery before I said, okay, you've got a psychic here, play nice, because if you're not going to play nice, I won't either. And that kind of set the stage. And they played nice, and they kind of felt me out, or however you want to call that. And it went good, but they literally would not let me leave the cemetery until I made them a solemn promise to return. I haven't returned because of the COVID thing this year, but I did tell them that I would return, and I plan to do. And the cemetery has been cleared. The djinn has been not only removed, it has been destroyed, and I didn't even know that you could destroy a djinn, but in order to do that, you have to have permission from every hierarchy being there possibly is that revolves around any kind of djinn in order to do it.
No, you don't need permission. They just do it on their own, from my experience. Okay.
Well,
it depends
I just set up information.
I just pinpoint them. I say, hey, listen, take a look at this, and they say, oh, okay, and they'll just
Well, according to what I learned, it depends on their hierarchy being. If he's ready to let them go, and he was very pissed and very much ready to let this one go, and he had no problems in having it destroyed, and so it was destroyed along with the necromancer who called it into being. And yeah, that was an interesting case. And the souls that had been eaten, I got told by Source himself that they would, once they cross over, they were escorted, basically. He had special, I don't know what else to call them other than angels, and those angels came and surrounded those that had been, quote unquote, eaten and tortured, and two separate types of souls. Ones that were tortured and ones that were actually eaten. And I've never seen holes in a soul before. That was horrific. That, to me, psychically was truly horrific. And that I can honestly say is a true horror story. Because what I saw, what this jinn had done, and what it was doing, and what it had been doing, and the treatment of these other souls was truly horrific. But Source himself told me that they would be surrounded and they would be escorted to the other side to cross over, and they would basically, for lack of a better phrase, they would be hospitalized. Basically it was put into how I would understand it. And basically they would be hospitalized, and it would take them probably from what
into the higher, right?
Yes, it would eventually take them over what I was told, quote unquote, it would take them over 1,000 years, end quote, to be healed enough to be reintegrated with the rest of the souls. And I was like, whoa, that's a serious amount of time. And the amount of souls that crossed over, that wanted to be crossed over, they were in tears and thanking me up one side and down the other. And I was just in tears, because it was just an incredible thing to see.
No,
but the horrific thing was what this jinn had done, what this demon had done to these souls. It was truly frightening. Not much scares the crap out of me. That actually did. And I went, wow, okay. And that was the night that I learned that you can talk to extreme hierarchy beings. Very extreme hierarchy beings.
Right, and you got to remember, I have to flip out of here, and I love all you guys. Is that time does not exist in the higher dimension? Like time is a construct for humans, right? And 1,000 years is like nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing to them. That's what I found out. Yeah, like I found out one of the ETs I know is millions of years old, and I went, what? I mean, I was like, what? And that was the phrase, was what you had just said, was stuck in my head. Nikki, you've got to remember, time it's not real in the grand scheme of things.
No.
And it's amazing to me. And so when you think about humans versus ETs, our lifespans can be anywhere from 70. Yeah, very minuscule.
Our
They can be
lifetime,
from
okay.
70 to 110 years, and that's it. And for them, it's thousands or millions. I'm like, whoa.
Right. Okay. I got to flip out of here, but our lifetime, consider it as a grain. Our lifetime is a grain of sand on one beach in this planet Earth. That's our lifetime. And you know what? We've been here before. We're sharing this together. This now here in time, kind of like on the same beach, maybe a small beach. and then we go carry on. That's all. It's like, yeah, thanks for sharing your time, your space, your here and your now with us. And and peace.
And the learning process.
Thanks for hanging out.
Take care.
Thanks. Peace.
Well, I have another story lined up if you guys would like to hear it.
Yes, please.
The ghostly queen returning home at Hever Castle. So Anne Boleyn is notorious as the second of King Henry VIII's ill-fated wives. To marry Anne, Henry spent years seeking a divorce from his wife Catherine of Aragon, and went on to sever England's relationship with Catholic Church in Rome, forever changing the course of British history. Despite the lengths he went to ensnare her, Henry soon grew tired of Anne, and choosing to believe the idle gossip surrounding her, had her beheaded in 1536. A number of reports exist of the ghost of Anne Boleyn, but perhaps the most affecting is the version said to haunt her childhood home, Hever Castle in Kent. Some say that every Christmas Eve, the spectral figure of Anne Boleyn can be seen slowly gliding across the bridge over the River Eden toward her family home, where she was at her happiest. The end. Wasn't very scary. But it's cool that you can, these could be residual hauntings or whatnot. She'd go that way every year to go visit family. Did she walk there? Probably not, but pretty interesting.
It's actually pretty cool.
The next one is called The Headless Horseman at Roos Hall. Roos Hall in Suffolk lays claim to being one of the most haunted houses in England. The 16th century hall has a number of sinister connections, including a gruesome hanging tree, an oak tree planted at the side of the old gibbet where numerous criminals were hung. To make things even spookier, inside one of the building's cupboards, the mark of a devil's cloven hoof is said to be imprinted, but perhaps the most dramatic haunting is supposed to happen every Christmas Eve. Legend has it that a headless horseman clatters down the driveway with his 4 black horses pulling a phantom coach, terrifying anyone who witnesses him. Could you imagine? I never heard of a headless horseman of Christmas.
There.
It's like I lose everybody. This next story is called The Haunted Dining Room at the Crescent Hotel. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas was built in 1886 and is rumored to harbor numerous ghosts who seem to be especially playful during the holidays. One Christmas, the staff came down to set up the dining room only to find the Christmas trees had been moved from one side of the room to the other. Another year, all the menus in the dining room had been scattered around the room. Other visitors have reported scenes of ghostly dancers clad in Victorian-era clothing whirling around the deserted dance floor. Sounds very haunted mansion-esque.
Almost reminds me of Poltergeist in some weird way.
Yeah, moving the Christmas tree and then hiding the menus.
Yeah.
Putting them in all the rooms around the room. The Ghostly Gathering of Kings of Wewell Castle. Reminds me of, just saying that reminded me of Robert's Princess Bride impression. Polwyn's Wawel Royal Castle was built on Wawel Hill in the 1500s. Within the hill lies a deep cave known as Smoksajama, which is Dragon's Den, and legend has it that a great dragon once lived there, terrorizing the locals before Prince Crack bravely vanquished the dragon and brought peace to Poland. To memorialize this event, a statue of the dead dragon now stands in the cave. Go deeper into the cave and you can come to yet another chamber, and it is here that on December 24th every year all the long-gone kings of Poland are said to meet and hold a spectral special council. Very cool. Also, to put like a statue of a dragon in a cave, I wonder if it's bronze or concrete.
That's what I was wondering. And all the kings coming together, that's really cool.
What would they talk about at that meeting?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to know.
Maybe how cold it is in that cotton-picking cave? This one, I think I only have 2 left. The Mistletoe Bride at Bramshill House. In the early 17th century, a young woman named Anne was to be married on Christmas Day at Bramshill House in Hampshire, England. After the ceremony and feast, as was tradition at the time, the guests were all set to carry the bride to the bedchamber. Anne suggested a game be played and asked for a 5-minute head start before the guests came to find her. Everyone searched long and hard for Anne, but no sign of her could be found. At first they thought she played a merry trick, but soon a sense of unease fell over the guests. The bridegroom, Lord Lovell, was distraught, and guests began to whisper that she must have fled. Days, weeks, months, and years passed, and Lord Lovell never stopped looking for his bride. One day, some 50 years after her disappearance, Lord Lovell was up in the huge attic of the sprawling mansion, where he began tapping on the oak paneling. As he knocked, a long-hidden secret door sprung open, and inside he found an ornate wooden chest. He pried open the heavy wooden lid, and there, still in her dress, clutching her mistletoe bouquet, were the skeletal remains of his beloved. The scratch marks on the inside of the lid of the chest attested to her desperate and futile effort to free herself from her hiding space. While the story appears in many variations, Bramshill House is thought to be the most likely site. Gave me goosebumps. Kind of reminds me of reminds me of, people that have woken up at their own funerals. How many of those aren't realized till it's too late? So I never realized. Yeah. The apparition. Yeah, that's gnarly. Ew. So I wonder if that place was haunted, or if he just thought like he was haunting her mind or her memories, like it was an apparition of, just thinking of her or whatnot.
Oh, she could have come to him simply because he was thinking of her.
Yeah.
That happens quite frequently with deceased family, friends, or even people. That's how I've had a number of unexpected famous folk show up in my home. It's always a shock when they do.
Right.
And so, you could be thinking of somebody, and they may be around you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does.
Oh, sorry. My phone was being weird. Okay, so I have one more story before we go, and it's the apparition of a murdered highwayman in Kent. One Christmas Eve, near the close of the 18th century, a notorious highwayman named Gilbert is said to have stopped at a coach and horses on the Hawkhurst Road in Marden, Kent. The coach contained a young lady and her father, and Gilbert ordered them out onto the road. Just as the girl stepped out, the horses bolted, taking the coach and her father with them. The young lady was left alone on the dark road with the highwayman, and as she looked into his face, she recognized him as the very same highwayman who had murdered her brother some years earlier. Horrified, she drew a hidden knife from her bag and stabbed Gilbert in the side, fleeing into the bushes. When the horses were claimed and the coach returned a little while later, the men discovered the bloody body of the highwayman and buried him at the side of the road. When villagers found the woman in the forest the next day, she had gone completely mad. They avoided that spot in the road for many years, and it's said that every Christmas Eve, the bloody scene is silently replayed to all that pass through.
Yikes, makes you wonder how many people pass through there and how many times that's replayed. Jeez.
Is it at an exact time? It's hard to say.
That's exactly what I was wondering.
You drive by right at that moment. Well, you guys, it is the end of the show. I appreciate you guys coming in early. And if you guys would like to continue to the after party, feel free to just hang on in there in the chat room. But tonight, Mr. Dennis Dyke, we have Champ, aka Nick, Robert White from Australia, we all, Lynn, and I think that's it. I'm seeing everybody up here and then also in the little classroom thingy. and Nikki. But thanks for hanging out and sharing your ghost stories. It's been awesome.
And let's talk about it.
And thank you to all of our friends on We Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, iHeartRadio, wherever else you may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend when we have the Paradox Paranormal Forum, as well as Jenna Kay and Scott Fithen, who are a paranormal investigating couple. Should be pretty interesting. You guys don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. If you'd like to join us on the Skype after party, feel free to look me up at tessa.n.thomas30@gmail.com, or you can give us a jingle at 970-335-9596. I want to thank all of our sponsors. We have Kevin McDougall. We also have Mr. Dale Eldon, Jim Morris, Mia Savage, as well as our musical host, Quest, aka Roy Washington. And also, we have Sleepy Dave Davenport on Mondays, generally in the morning, with Coffee and a Chat with Sleepy. And then we have Doc Skinner on Friday nights, and that starts at 6 p.m. Pacific. Until next time, nighty-night, love and light. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you back here, same time, same place. Don't forget to like the show. Go and look for us on YouTube. Give us a like there, and follow. If you follow here as well, you'll get the updates when we do go live. Take care of my yous. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa.